Hi guys, this is going to be the tutorial that's going to show you how to make this Granny Tears beanie. I had a request for a beanie when I showed my Granny Tears scarf, and so this is by request. Now I've done this in 3 different sizes. I have baby, which is 3 to 12 months old. I did have one made for a toddler, but I took it over to my family's house and my little nephew saw it and of course the adult size. This can fit a teenager or an adult. And all you need to make this beanie is a skein of yarn. And this skein was full when I started, when I made this beanie here. And look how much I have left. It's gonna take less than a skein. So if you have a half a skein of something laying around, you can definitely make a hat out of that. The yarn that I used is worsted weight yarn, 4-ply for the US and 10-ply for Australia. Also, you're going to need a 5mm hook or a size H hook for the US, and you may want to grab a stitch marker just in case. So go ahead and grab those items and we'll get started. You want to begin by chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3, and you want to slip stitch in this beginning chain to form a ring. Then you want to chain 2, and then in this ring you just made, you want to work 11 double crochets. The chain 2 that you just did will count as a stitch. And I'm going to be working over my tail as I go. So continue until you've worked 11 double crochets plus your chain 2, and you'll have 12 stitches at the end of this round. When you get to the end of your round, you want to slip stitch in the beginning, the top of the beginning chain 2. For round 2, you want to chain 2, and then you want to work a double crochet into the same stitch. And then you'll be working a double crochet, 2 double crochets in each stitch around. So you're going to put 1 double crochet, then go right back in the same stitch and put another double crochet. Put 2 double crochets in all your stitches around, and at the end of this round you should have 24 stitches. Okay, when you get to the end of your round, you want to slip stitch in the top at the beginning chain 2. For round 3, you want to chain 2, and then you want to double crochet 2 in the next stitch. Then you want to double crochet 1 into the next stitch. Then you'll repeat double crochet 2 for your increase into the same stitch, and then double crochet 1 into the next stitch, and continue that around. 2 double crochets in one stitch, 1 double crochet in the next, and when you get to the end of your round you should have 36 stitches. Okay, I just got done with round 3, and you want to slip stitch in the top of the beginning chain 2. And if you're making a baby size hat, then you're done increasing, and go ahead and fast forward to the stitch portion of the video to continue. But for toddler, child, teen, and adult, stay with me. So for round 4, you're going to chain 2, and then you want to double crochet into the next stitch. Whoops. Then you want to double crochet 2 in the next stitch for your increase. Then you're going to put 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 double crochet in that stitch, 1 double crochet in that stitch, and then you'll do another increase, putting 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And you're going to repeat this. You're going to put 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, then work 2 double crochets in the next. You're going to continue that pattern all the way around, and when you get to the end of this round, you should have 48 stitches. Okay, when you reach the end of round 4, you want to slip stitch in the top of the chain 2. And then if you're making a toddler size hat, you're done increasing, go ahead and move to the stitch portion of the video. But if you're doing a teen or adult, stay with me. Okay, for round 5, going to chain 2. Then you're going to work 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Then in the next stitch, you're going to be working your first increase. So you're going to put 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. Then you're going to be working 1 double crochet in the next 3 stitches. 2 and 3. Then the next, you're going to be putting an increase. So you're going to be working 2 double crochets in the same stitch. And you're going to be repeating this pattern for the rest of the row. You'll be putting 1 double crochet worked in the next 3 stitches, and then in the next you'll be putting 2 double crochets, and then you'll continue 1 double crochet worked in the next 3 stitches, and then 2 double crochets for your increase. And you'll work that all the way around, and when you get to the end of your round, you'll have 60 stitches. Okay, just got done with round 5. And you want to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2. And now teen and adult, you're done increasing. Okay, now for the stitch portion of the hat. For all sizes, no matter what size you're making, you're going to be completing 6 full rows of the stitch. And how to do the stitch is you'll begin the round by chaining 1, and then you'll work your first granny tier in the same space that you slip stitched into here. So you'll go in and you'll pull up a stitch, then you'll yarn over and pull through only 2. Then you'll yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, then yarn over and only pull through 2. Then again you'll yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through only 2. Now you have 3 incomplete double crochets here, and you have 4 loops on your hook. You want to yarn over, pull through all 4 loops, and then you'll chain 2. And then you'll continue that all the way around. You'll yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through only 2 loops. Then yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through only 2 loops. And then you'll do that one more time. You'll be working that same into 3 stitches. Then when you got 4 loops on your hook, you'll yarn through all 4 loops, and then you'll chain 2. And then you don't skip a stitch, you just go right into the next and start your next granny tier. So you want to continue this all the way around, and when you get back up here to the beginning, I'll show you how to end the round. And when you reach the end of your round, I just got done pulling through all 4 of my loops, and I'm only going to chain 1 instead of chaining 2 after my very last granny tier of the round, because you want to slip stitch in the top of your beginning cluster, and that's going to count as the slip stitch will count as your second chain. So you're going to find that stitch here where you pulled it all together, and it creates that stitch here. That's where you're going to insert your hook, and you can see they all have it. They all have this stitch on the top. You're going to slip stitch into that to end your round. So to start your second round of clusters, you're going to chain 1, and then working in your first big space, you're going to yarn over and go into that big space, pull up a loop, pull through only 2 of the loops, and you're going to work your complete granny tiers right into this big stitch. So yarn over, go back in the same big stitch, pull through 2, yarn over, go into the same big stitch, only pull through 2, 4 loops on the hook like before, pull through all 4 loops and chain 2. Then move over to your next big space and repeat. yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through only 2, yarn over, go into the same space, only pull through 2 loops. You repeat one more time, 4 loops on your hook, pull through all 4 loops and chain 2. And then you want to continue that all the way around, and then you want to again only chain 1 after your last cluster, your granny tier at the end of the round, and your slip stitch to end the round will be counted as your second chain. And you want to continue to do this until you have a total of 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm sorry, not 8, 6 rows, and it's the same for the baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's the same for all sizes. So continue this until you have 6 complete rows, and then I will show you how to end your hat. Okay, when you get to the end of your round, don't forget this big stitch on the end. I'm going to work a cluster in that one too. Okay, so for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do the rim. Now for all the rims, for all the sizes, they'll start out the same way. You want to chain 1, and then in the big stitch you want to put 2 single crochets into the big stitch, and then on top of your clusters you have a stitch here and a stitch here. You're going to be putting 1 single crochet in those next 2 stitches, and then when you come again to the big stitch, you'll work 2 single crochets into that. Then again in the next 2 stitches you'll put 1 single crochet, and you want to repeat that all the way around. Okay, when I got to the end of my row, I didn't work 2 single crochets into this last big stitch. I just went ahead and I'm going to put 1 single crochet worked in the other top of this cluster here. Then I'm going to get my stitch marker ready. This was my very first stitch that I began last round. Now this is where it gets a bit tricky. You want to reduce the amount of stitches that you have. Last time I think I had for the adult hat 73, and now this time I have 76, 77, something like that. But you want to get back to your original number, so your original number that you stopped increasing. So if you're a baby size hat you're making, you want to try to get back down to 36. Toddler child, you want to get back down to 48, and for the adult you want to get back to 60. So what you're going to do is do this decrease until you've reached that amount of stitches that your goal is. For the baby, when I did it, I think I just ended up having to do the whole thing once, and I ended up having the exact 36 stitches that I need. But I recommend, if you're doing a baby size hat, count your stitches, and I had 44 at the end of my baby hat. And what I did was I went into my very first stitch, and you do 4 regular stitches in a row, and then I did a single crochet decrease. And then you want to continue that all the way around. 1 single crochet worked in the next 4 stitches, and then a single crochet decrease until you reach 36 stitches. Once you do, if you're at the end of the row, that's great. If you have more stitches left over at the end, then and you have 36 stitches, then go ahead and just single crochet in the remaining stitches. Now for toddler, it's the same thing, but you're trying to get down to 48 stitches, and you'll be doing the same decreases. The single crochet in the next 4, single crochet in the next 4, and then a single crochet decrease, and continue to do that until you get to 48 stitches, and then single crochet in your remaining stitches. For the adult hat, I actually did single crochet in 6 stitches before I did my decrease. And then for the next round, I also had to do more increases of single crochet 6, and then more decreases. I think 3 more times is what's on the pattern before I actually got back down to my single stitches. So if you're working an adult hat, go ahead and do your 6 single crochets in a row. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then do your decrease. And for toddler and baby, you want to go ahead and just single crochet 4 before you do your decrease. So continue this all the way around. I'm pretty sure for baby and toddler you can make it in the first round, but if you don't reach your goal, then keep on to the next round 2, because we're going to have another round. Okay, I'm at the end of my round, and I'm going to move my stitch marker up to my first stitch of the previous round. Count your stitches, see if you've made your goal, if you didn't already on your last round. Baby 36, toddler 48, and for me I have 67, which means I need to decrease 7 more times to be able to reach my 60 stitch goal. And then you'll just single crochet in each stitch to get to the very end of your row. So once you've reached that 67 stitch, the 60 stitch mark, then you're done decreasing. And then you can just single crochet in the rest of the row, and if you want to add more rows after that, you'll just put 1 single crochet in each stitch around up to 5 rows total. I wouldn't go more than that, but it's up to you. And that's it. That is how you make the Granny Stitch Tears beanie. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did like it, please don't forget to hit the like button. And you can find all the places. I'm at Facebook and Tumblr and all those places you can find down below the links. Also, I have pictures on all my patterns that you can find this pattern link below the video as well. And if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please don't forget to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching.